Alright, so we're, well, I guess you can kind of figure out what I got new to me. This is actually a 1990 Honda Goldwing GL 1500. It's got 75, when I bought it, it had 74,000 miles on it. It's got 75, almost 76 now. I've had it about 2 weeks, and I've been riding it quite a bit, as much as I can, trying to get used to it. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger and bulkier than the VTX 1800, and a little bit of a transition for me, even though I've been riding pretty much all my life. It's just a whole different animal. And I was actually looking at the Kawasaki Concourse 1400, because I've never been a Goldwing guy. I'm not a big fan of them, or I wasn't. And the only reason why I was even thinking about getting something like that was because my wife, she wants something comfortable to sit on. And the Kawasaki fit my criteria as far as, you know, it looked comfortable and it's powerful, and I like the way it looks and everything, but I don't think it would have been good for her. She wouldn't have enjoyed it after a couple hours in the seat. I know it's probably better than the VTX, but just looking at the seat, I don't think she would have been happy with it long term. And it took me a while to come to grips with the fact that Goldwing is probably the best option for me. Like I said, I'm not a bike snob or anything, but it's just not my style. At least I didn't think it was. And it took me about 6-7 months. I'm like, you know, I need to look at the Goldwing, and I mean, the purpose of it is to go on trips with my wife, and that fits the purpose. I'm not a big fan of the looks, or I wasn't. It's kind of growing on me now. I've had it, like I said, it took me about 6 months to come to the decision to get a Goldwing, and I was looking at the 3rd gen. I kind of like the way the 3rd gen looks over the 4th gen, because it's more of a stripped down motorcycle. It's got the mag wheels and all that, and anyway, after doing a bunch of research and stuff, decided to get a 4th gen. I only paid $2,500 for this, not a whole lot of money, and the reason why is I didn't know if I was even going to like it or want to keep it long term. I didn't want to spend, you know, $6,000 to $8,000 for a newer one, nice one. I wanted, you know, looking for something in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. And this one came along. I looked at a couple other ones. This one came along, and it needed tires, and it's got a little deal with the dash where it looks like it got overheated at one point. I'm actually looking for a dash for it. If anybody has a 4th gen dash, reasonable, but I see them online for like $500-600. It's kind of weird because the 3rd gen and the 5th gen dashes are on there, the clusters, and they're all reasonable. For some reason, the 4th gen cluster, everybody wants an arm and a leg for them. I'm not going to spend that. But anyway, if someone has a cluster for a 90, I think it goes 88, 89 to 91 are the same on these, the actual dash cluster. And so if anyone has one, shoot me an email, maybe I'll buy it. But it needed, you know, tires, both tires were pretty bad on it, or old, and the cup real bad. And I changed all the fluids on it and everything, and we're actually probably about 50 miles south of Springfield, Missouri right now. We're going to Eureka Springs for our anniversary. We've never been there before, but we want to go get away for the weekend. This is Friday. And go to Eureka Springs for the weekend. We rented a lodge, Stonegate. We've never been there, but keep hearing about all the good riding in Arkansas. It's only one state down from us, and I've never really rode in Arkansas. Rode a lot in Illinois and Missouri or whatever, but never Arkansas. So this is actually the longest trip she's been on a motorcycle. She's been on with me with little day trips here and there. You know, you go 150 miles or so, then she's ready to get off. So she's been on this one now, I guess a little over 200. She says she's totally comfortable, no problems at all. So I guess I made the right decision. And honestly, I would have never bought a Goldwing, but now that I've had it and I've ridden it solo quite a bit last few weeks, almost 800 miles, I would still buy it even if I didn't, even if I was single, because I don't know, they always say don't knock Goldwing until you ride. I think that's true. I just love it. I think it could easily extend your riding season, because I mean, you can be on it. We left this morning. She wanted to leave at 8:30. I said, there ain't no way you're going to want to leave at 8:30. I said, it's going to be too cold. And the high in St. Louis is only supposed to be like 55. So the morning you're talking 30 degrees. And I said, we're not going to leave until about 11 at least. And I said, you ain't going to sit in the back of that in 30-degree weather. Of course, she got up and her car was frosted over, so she thought better of that. Let me sleep a little bit longer. We ended up leaving about 11:30. It's almost 5 now. I think we're about 40 miles from there. It's about 300 miles from our house. Did real good until we stopped at Cracker Barrel and got stuck in the twilight zone there. I think we were there like an hour and 20 minutes. Took forever to get seated, didn't seem that busy. And then we got seated, took forever to get the food. I just told her we're like in a whole different time zone or something. I don't know, like, I don't understand this. But yeah, we got stuck there. And then we went to a gas station to get fuel about 80 miles later, and it took us like 20 minutes to get out of there because of the traffic. So I don't, every time we stop, it's like we get stuck in time. But yeah, so we're almost to this, I think we're probably about, if I had to guess, 30 or 40 miles from Eureka Springs. We're going to stay there till Sunday. We're going to ride the mountains, I guess, Saturday. And head back Sunday. She has to work Monday, and so do I, so we're just on the road here. I think we're on 80, yeah, we're on 86, headed that way. So that's all I wanted to say about it for now. I'll take a little tour of the Goldwing when we get there. Like I said, it's in pretty good shape actually for a 90. The paint's still in pretty good shape. It's got a few battle scars here and there, but overall I would say it's in good shape. You know, it needed tires and just maintenance and stuff. Actually, the Goldwing, I got a record. He said, oh, this guy I bought it from was kind of dumb. He said, oh, I think I went the second owner. But then he gave me he gave me an envelope with a whole bunch of records in it. And in the envelope, there's all these things from different owners and stuff, different receipts and stuff. And from what I can tell, it started, someone bought a brand new in Phoenix, Arizona in 90. Had it for about 5 or 6 years, sold to somebody else in Phoenix. I'm not sure how long they had it, but then it was a new owner in Montana for a period, a new owner in Wyoming for a period, and then it went to South Dakota. It got laid down in South Dakota, evidently on the left side or driver's side. He had laid it down and didn't do any body damage to it according to the work that was done to it, but he damaged the engine guard and busted the valve cover, and they had to replace all that. It ended up being like $1,400 for valve cover, the engine guard. They put a new tire on the rear and new brakes. It sounds like maybe he had a problem with the rear tire. I'm not sure. But then it went from South Dakota to Missouri. And I think the guy that lived in South Dakota moved to Missouri and then ended up selling to the guy I bought it from. He had it 2 years. He was kind of a smaller guy. And he said it's just too much for him. He couldn't handle it and sold it. And anyway, I bought it. I was looking at a couple different ones. Actually looking at a third gen. Almost bought that, and it got sold out from under me. And I knew deep down the Fortune would be better because of, you know, they're a little bit bigger and bigger engine, more powerful, 4-cylinder, and this is a 6-cylinder. You know, a little bit more everything, I guess. And Honda really, from what I'd researched over the months, Honda made huge gains in the mid-80s, and they kind of saved it all for the 4th gen instead of updating the 3rd gen throughout the years. Those couple years there, the 3rd gen was there. And they just kind of threw it all into this bike, and it's a great bike. Runs good. Haven't had any issues with it. Of course, I've only driven it probably close to 1,000 miles. I figure we'll probably put, it's about 300 miles from St. Louis, Eureka Springs, so I figure we'll put probably 800-900 miles on it this weekend. Be a good test for it. We are planning on taking it to Sturgis, so and then I'm sure we'll do the Ozark Bike Rally and a couple other rallies, so it should get around this year quite a bit. It does need, the only thing it needs right now, it could use some fork springs. I'm going to have to put those in it, and the brakes are about 30%, so I think I'm just going to change the brakes when I change the fork seals. And fork seals have been leaking a while on it. You can tell it's got some grease on the back of the forks that have been there a while. It's been there a while, so it definitely needs fork seals. I'll go ahead and do that myself. I might make a video on that. Never done it on a Goldwing, but I have taken the tires, the wheels off and all that, and changed tires on it. So I'm a little bit familiar with the front end on it. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some footage of Eureka Springs and some of the mountain riding stuff. And it's actually our anniversary, 29 years, been married to her. Got married, I think that's in 92. She was 18, I was 20. So anyway, I guess we'll pick this back up when we get in there. I thought I'd introduce the new bike and tell you what's going on, and just kind of follow these people in there. I guess we're all probably going to the same place or close to it. So we'll pick this back up when we get back to Eureka Springs. One thing I will say about these Goldwings, make sure I was recording. I'm 6'5" and I wear a 14 boot, and I'll tell you what, coming up to a stop at first was eye-opening for me, because I tried to get my feet off and the engine's right there in the engine guard, and I was getting hung up on that when I was coming to a stop, and almost jumped it over a couple times the first time I rode it. Just not used to something being right in front of my legs when you come to a stop. So that was an adjustment period. That was the biggest problem I had with it. And the actual stock, I guess this is the stock windshield, it actually works pretty good. My head is over the windshield, but I really don't get too much buffeting on it. So even though my head kind of sticks over it, I look right through, I look right here basically, but my helmet definitely sticks over it. I don't know what the speed limit is through here. Everybody's slowing down, so I guess I'll slow down. But other than that, it's comfortable. It's very comfortable. The seat's great. So if you're a taller guy, that might be one thing with the Goldwing you might have to get adjusted to. It's just the placement of the, you know, right there. You got that engine and the engine guard there, and I don't know. I guess we're going to 21 here. It was pretty sketchy at first because I kept wanting to push my feet forward like I do on my VTX, or even straight down, and they get stuck on the guard. And that was the hardest thing for me to get used to on this compared to the VTX or any motorcycle. Really, I've never had a motorcycle where my feet are covered up by the engine. So anyway, that was. Just wanted to mention that if you're a taller guy thinking about a Goldwing, it might be a little bit of adjustment with that part of it. But you know, I don't get any air on me, even with my head sticking over the windshield. It's really not bad. It's not like I'm getting buffeted around real bad or anything. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I think we're on 21 now. I don't really know these roads, never been back here, so I'm going to take it easy and just roll on in there and pick it back up once we get to Eureka Springs. Another thing I'll say about the Goldwing is I find myself leaning into the corners too hard, and then I got to stand it back up and lean back in because it handles so well. With it being so big, you would think you have to really lean into it, and really handles pretty good for a big bike like this. If I'm in a long sweeping turn, I'm always over leaning in too hard. Then I got to stand back up a little, then lean back. It's taking me a little bit to get used to that too. It's you know, I've been riding the same bike for 16 years, and it's a completely different bike, but definitely handles better diving into the turns and stuff than the VTX. The VTX handles pretty decent for a cruiser, but this thing, you just barely lean in, it turns, goes where you want it to go. So it's another little thing that I'm trying to get used to. Starting to get into some pretty, been following this guy for like 20 miles, it seems like, but starting to get into some pretty scenic area, kind of see the hills off in the distance. Got to be getting close to it by now. Hopefully this mic's picking up. Very, very windy today. Extremely annoying going down 44. The Goldwing doesn't really get tossed around by the wind. The wheels stay planted, but the front definitely, it's like being on a boat, kind of sways back and forth, the front of it. But the wheels are planted. It doesn't search the lane or whatever like a smaller bike would, or get pushed around. But it's almost like being on a boat. You know, the wind sways the top half of the bike. But I think should be getting pretty close. Pretty big hills in front of us. And mileage-wise, we got to be getting there too. So pretty scenic, pretty nice area to ride. A lot of cows. Somebody was burning wood earlier, and I love that smell. It's like one of my favorite smells in the world, burning wood. There's also a lot of cow smells too, which isn't too pleasant, but you see it's just big open farmland, cows everywhere. Which, I mean, if you live in Missouri, you see a lot of that anyway. Between Missouri and Illinois, a lot of farmland when you get out and ride. Which I think we're still in Missouri. I don't think we've crossed into Arkansas yet. So I haven't seen any signs. Alright, so we're officially in Eureka Springs. Not sure where our hotel's at, or our lodge. Passing a lot of campgrounds right now. Pretty scenic. It gets more and more scenic the farther you come up. Never saw a sign saying we left Missouri. I guess I don't. This isn't necessarily that weird considering we're not on the main highway, but yeah, the farther you get up in here, the more scenic it becomes. Different trees and stuff. So we're gonna head. My wife's kind of navigating from the back seat. I need to get a GPS for this bike. I can mount my phone, but I'd rather have a GPS. It's not wearing my phone down. And something I can see real easy. I do need to get a phone mount for this, for my music and stuff. I just haven't had time the last few weeks. I've been too busy changing tires and changing air filters and fuel filters and oil and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna put the radio works on it, but a couple of speakers are bad. And I want to get I guess I'm gonna put marine radio in it. And I have Jeep Bluetooth and all that with it. Take this radio out. It does work. It doesn't work great, but it works. But that'll be my next project on it. And then I'm gonna. I don't know if it's ever had the timing belts changed or not. It's got 75,000 on it. They say 100,000 on each fortune. But if it's never been done, it probably needs to be done. So I'll probably do that this winter. I'm not going to change it this summer. I think it'll be fine. But I'll probably do that this winter. But yeah, right now we're in Eureka Springs. Once we get there, I'll get off the bike and give you a little tour of the Goldwing, and then probably just end it out for the night. We're going to unload the bike and check in and go get some dinner probably. Just kind of relax tonight a little bit. Not really sure where we're going to ride tomorrow.
Coming up on the left.
And coming up on the left, so let me...
About a quarter mile.
So we're here now. This looks like a pretty nice place on the outside. It's got a motorcycle wash or a hog wash. Got a Honda shed I'll sit in here. And this is our Goldwing. You can see it looks like maybe a motorcycle, cop motorcycle or something. It's got the white paint scheme. Yeah, like I said, it's in pretty good shape. Everything works on it except for the cruise control. I got to fix that. And maybe replace some of the fade out lights down here. Stuff like that. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty clean for the year and the mileage on it. So I guess we're going to check in and then go get some dinner. And we'll see you tomorrow on the road somewhere.